Hey everyone, I'm Zenbake, this is Auto Group, and this is the 2021 Bentley Flying Spur, and this is the W12. So we're here yet again to one of our family friends. Special thanks to him for providing the vehicle, obviously. The last time we came was for the Bentley Bentayga. Can you believe that video was over a year ago, and that was obviously pre-pandemic? Not that it really makes a difference when you're doing a car review. It's not like the car has to wear a mask or anything, but this car just absolutely looks insane. Now, outside, it does have your normal white color that they have. You know, they have tons of different whites. I'm not sure the particular name of this one, but look at the interior. On the inside, you have this crazy two-tone red and white leather interior. You can see the red piping as well on the seats. It's very nice and dark. It's basically like a maroon, and you know, it's even on the sides as well. This is what I love about Bentley. Each time we've ever reviewed a Bentley, you know, my favorite things about it is the fact that the materials and craftsmanship, you know, the car is entirely handcrafted. It is just insane, like the amount of work that they put in to making this car. So that's the front. We'll go ahead and check out the features, of course, you know, with the infotainment system. We usually do like kind of a light sort of infotainment system guide, not too deep, because more of the focus of this type of car is obviously the pampering and luxury that you get inside a Bentley. Now look at the rear end. What they changed that I really like is these new, much more toned down, you know, still with the chrome accents, very sporty looking rear taillights, and of course they are LED taillights. Look at the design in them, it's absolutely incredible. The exhausts still carry that kind of ovalish type of style that Bentleys are known for, and I really like the design. So this is now the second car to get this facelift design and more big updates. The first was the Bentley Continental with the flipping screen and the brand new interior. Now this, and now obviously the new Bentley Bentayga as well. So look at these wheels. These are absolutely humongous. These should be 22s or 21s because Bentley and Audi, you know, Volkswagen Auto Group be putting crazy wheels on their cars, especially the really high-end ones, also like the Urus and stuff. So let me quickly sit in the back seat and show you how I fit. I'm about 6'3", and that front seat is about to my position. So let's go ahead and see how it all works. So for the rear seat of the Bentley Flying Spur, it is very nice and luxurious. Now when you do sit back here, what you notice is that look at the leather work. Like, it is unbelievably done from the top to the middle section where, you know, one of the speakers is, and the vents as well, of course, with the beautiful chrome. You could turn that on and off as well. Look at this stitching, like it goes all the way to the bottom where you rest your foot. And of course over here it says handcrafted by Bentley Motors Ltd in Crewe, England. Isn't that absolutely fantastic? That is amazing. I love that. Beautiful touch. Now the other thing is that you can customize the seat with these beautiful buttons as well, and you could move the bottom part back and forward, and then you can also tilt the backrest back and forward as well. What's really awesome is that you do have two-stage memory settings in the rear. Isn't that incredible for your rear passengers? You can control your seat and save it, which is just fantastic. And you also, of course, have your massaging seats as well, which is great. And that is a great feature. Look at this, has the name audio system, so look at the speaker size over here. It is absolutely fantastic. As we get another train passing by, but maybe we should just go ahead and cover the interior while this passes. So stepping in to the Flying Spur, look at the way you sit in this thing. If I customize my seat, the door just closes absolutely solidly, just boom, right there and there, and then you can make your seat very nice. It does have a head-up display. So many features. As soon as you get in the car, you just realize like how filled this is with features. You got a Bentley logo on the brake pedal, and then if we adjust our wheel, you do have a control at the bottom. It's a nice little button. It feels like a latch, but you know, obviously it's power tilt and telescopic. And here is your driving position, a very nice looking steering wheel. Of course, it has the split part of the leather on the outside where you could see it, unlike most other cars where it's kind of hidden. But I love when it's outside like this. It reminds me a lot of Ferrari, the way they do it as well. So very well done for that. Of course, more leather even on the airbag place for the wheel. And then when you look at the door, just look at the materials from top to bottom once again. You know, even this is obviously covered in leather. Then you got this portion at the top, it's all leather, and then again you have this beautiful handcrafted wood finish, and you could choose so many different options for your wood and for your leather in this car. There's a bunch of different options that they let you do. Definitely check out the building feature on Bentley's website. They have so many features that you could change around. And of course, it still has 2-stage memory settings for your seat, chrome finishing so much everywhere, you know. This name audio, I've never tried it out in Bentley before, but it should be good. I think you could also get Bang & Olufsen as well. So look at this clock. This is absolutely gorgeous. So what's really interesting is that the door size is actually very, very small, much more like a compact car in terms of its size. Look, when you open it up as well, it's very, very short over here, but you got a bunch of packing as well of the door. And of course, soft close, boom, it closes it right up. But look at the way it's finished over here. You get this really nice visual effect of the quilting continuing all the way over here, which makes it feel like a much bigger door, which is just fantastic. And you know, the controls, there are so many different things to learn in this car. This is our first time in this generation of Bentleys where they have the new infotainment system shared with Audi. And you know, we got our home page over here, gives you a bunch of settings. What I really like about this Audi infotainment system is the fact that this screen is so easy to use once you learn all the modes, because look, all your drive related features are right over here, and it shows you your drive dynamics. And as soon as we switch the mode, you know, it's in Bentley mode, you could go to comfort and custom as well, and sport. So very similar to the way the Bentley Bentayga had it. What's very interesting about this car is the fact that the way we're sitting right now, we're both above 6'2", and the driving position is very sports car like almost. You know, the steering wheel can come nice and close to you. Maybe for my height it should come a little bit closer, but you got so much tuning for the headrest and all your adjustments in the seat. You're very nice and low in the car. It doesn't feel very bulky at all or anything, which is something that I like. So what's really cool is that normally the screen is closed down and you just have this plain wood finish. Isn't that absolutely incredible? Look at the way the wood continues all the way to the center gauge display and to the sides. Then you got this big start button. You turn the car on, and then this flips into place, and then you got your infotainment screen, which is just, I love these types of features. It's so cool. I don't know why people complain about these types of things and call them gimmicks, but look, when Bentley does it, it is so good looking with the wood finish just normally. And I think this screen part looks great and all, but when you click the screen button and it goes away, you got your stopwatch, you got your compass, and you got your temperature reader for the outside. It tells you that it's 30 degrees, which is just fantastic. And it tells you the speed limit in the gauge cluster. Just these minor touches really make this car absolutely worth it. Let's go ahead and go on with the drive. So now we are driving the Bentley Flying Spur, and just in these normal, you know, local town type streets and everything, the W12 is basically off. It seems, you know, it's just there's almost no noise, and for bumper to bumper traffic or for your stop and go from stop signs, you know, this combination of the engine and this 8-speed dual clutch, it's not a torque converter, it's a dual clutch, is very, very interesting to me, because normally in a luxury car you wouldn't see a dual clutch. But because of, you know, this car's kind of double personality, it could also be a very, very fast sports sedan. It has 626 horsepower, 664 pound-feet of torque, you know, crazy numbers. The thing is, this brake response and the air suspension is so relaxed, we're in comfort right now, that the dual clutch basically feels like a torque converter. Sometimes off the line, I'm noticing it does have a slightly aggressive, you know, slip of the clutches into first, but I think it's still very, very smooth. And just the fact that, look, even in the head-up display, it says it's a school zone that we're traveling in, so the speed limit is a little less, which is fantastic. So when you're standing still, the car does actually, it can turn off, you know, with your auto start stop, but it does it after a little bit of a while. You know, it doesn't immediately just turn off the engine for no reason, because we obviously have to, you know, get going. But when you come out on the road where you have a bit more space, the W12 does come alive with the beautiful twin-turbocharged W12, and it's so smooth in shifting, you know, with this dual clutch. It just feels absolutely effortless, and the road stability and stuff is very nice as well, I'm noticing. But the steering wheel has a bit more of a hydraulic type of feel, even though, you know, we know it's EPS. It just has a bit of a kind of almost, you know, if you let go of it, sometimes it might follow a little bit of the road's curves and stuff, you know, like tram lining steering from a hydraulic rack, but still, it's very nice and smooth. This is very, very similar to the Bentayga. Now, I can't remember because it was over a year ago. I think that was January 7th when we did the Bentayga. The feel of the Bentayga was a bit softer maybe, but I personally prefer sedans. So this overall combination is very, very nice. Then, just looking at the gauges, obviously it's just incredible. See, yeah, definitely I'm noticing the steering wheel has some road feel. You could actually feel it moving here and there over the bumps. It's not absolutely numb like a lot of electric power assisted steering wheels. There goes a brand new Defender. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, in your road commute, the power delivery and everything, the throttle response is something that I really loved about the Bentayga as well. The way it responds is great. And then you got Bentley mode as well, which is a bit of a GT mode. I think it mixes up your sport and comfort and makes it its own grand touring type of mode, which is cool. But the thing about Bentleys is that I don't really notice too big of a difference between the modes. I think it's perfectly doable for your daily driving in comfort and Bentley mode. It's just very, very similar in feel. One thing that we did notice about the Bentley Bentayga in sport mode was that the exhaust came alive all of a sudden. In this car, it's also, the same engine. So if we put it to sport, it should activate the exhaust a bit more, and the steering wheel feels heavy, and all of a sudden the air suspension gets tight. Now I'm feeling the bumps that we're going over. That is something that is a noticeably different experience than what you're used to in comfort mode, which is very cool. It does that very nicely. The thing is about this steering system is that it lacks just a bit of that luxurious touch from the Mercedes S-Class that we reviewed, a few years back, the S550. It just has a bit more of an active feel. It's not super, super numb and disconnected, which is, it depends on what kind of preference you have for this type of car. If you want a bit more lively, steering feel, then you get this over the S-Class. But obviously there is quite a big price gap as well. Like the materials in this thing are just on another level compared to any of its competitors, except for, obviously when you get into Rolls-Royce. A few different cars that we have tested in this category have been the previous generation Flying Spur V8, which was, not nearly as opulent or crazy as this thing. It's such a big step up from that car. And the other thing is the LS500s that we have done, the air suspension one, the gas pressurized suspension one, they have also been very, very good on these types of roads, and the throttle response has been pretty decent as well. But this thing, compared to the S-Class in terms of comfort, is about at the same level in terms of your suspension tuning. It has a very nice sort of blend of your sportiness, but you know what? Honestly, if we put it back into comfort is my favorite setting, just because the suspension gets way softer. Just minor inputs of the throttle, it just has such a good response. It's crazy. And then in the gauge cluster also, it shows that, you switch to comfort or you switch to some other mode. The speed limits here are, 35 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour. But if this thing gets on the highway, and you just floor it, obviously it'll fly. I remember one little point when we were filming the Bentley Bentayga. I think the camera was off or something, but I just hit the gas a little bit more than I did during the review because of traffic on some empty road, and it just absolutely picks up. And obviously, when you're in such a big car like this is about like 5,300 pounds. It's 209 inches long. In a car like this, when you floor it, it's such a weird feeling because it's so big, and you would imagine it to be bulky and bulbous or whatever, but it just has such an amazing response. You even just slightly go into the throttle, and it has a great pickup. I love that. Then the brake response is very, very light. You just slightly push into the brake pedal, and it has a nice and firm feeling pedal response, and it just stops so effortlessly. It has barely any travel, which is something that I really like. A lot of cars, you get into them, that aren't of this type of category or performance, and their brake pedals feel very mushy, and it takes a lot of force to try to get the thing to stop just because it has such long travel. But look at these brakes. These are 10 piston brakes, you know, from Bentley and, you know, the Audi Auto Group, which is just fantastic. Until we're stuck in traffic and stuff, let's quickly open up the screen real quick. Look at how it adjusts into place. You got so many different features, you know. When you go to your nav, the usability of this, the way you can just move it is very, very similar to a smartphone, you know. And you could pinch to zoom and stuff as well. It's very usable. It shows you your gas station over here, grocery store, you know, your also if you click on traffic, it will show you some of the main roads, and it will say if they're blocked or if they're slow traffic. Isn't that just such a helpful feature? So now we have the car in sport mode, and what's awesome is that in sport, you know, it tells you your gear number, which is great, and then you could easily downshift, and the dual clutch just absolutely responds immediately. That's so good. Now that we're, you know, in our sport mode with our M1, you know, since we're in manual mode, these gear shifters, if you check out the pattern behind them for the paddle shifters, they're very nice and small and kind of almost hidden behind the wheel. But the entire material finish overall, like for these parts, like the vents and stuff, this is just, it's amazing. Like imagine going to a party late at night when people are, you know, outside or whatever, taking pictures and stuff. This is so glamorous and, you know, flashy that for someone who likes that type of stuff, they're going to love it. And for somebody who wants a bit more of an understated thing, then maybe they're going to get, I don't know, like a 7 Series or something, or an Audi A8, you know. And speaking of Audi A8, you know, this combination between, because of Volkswagen Auto Group and stuff, the way this car is built kind of in combination and in harmony with some Audi products, right? Like the Audi A8L and stuff with the same W12. That type of stuff is just absolutely fantastic. It has just a fantastic response, and the steering wheel gets so active, you know, in response as well. When you're in sport mode, it could just dart around, and it really makes it compact around you. It doesn't feel like a very big car of all, you know, that you have to maneuver and haul like an old school car. Minor complaint, let me tell you about the visibility in this thing. The front end, when you're pulling around, or like when we were turning back onto this road, the hood is very long, like very, very far out there, which is a very nice and luxurious touch, obviously, but it makes maneuvering a bit more difficult. But luckily, you do have a very nice parking assist system. It kind of gives you a graphic of the car, and then it shows you where, you know, things are about to hit the car or whatever. You know, God forbid, when you're going this thing, you come across something that could scratch the paint. You don't want that at all. But I'm just saying, it's a very nice feature to have. Back into automatic mode by itself, I don't even have to do anything for the car. But it does, you know, and the shifter does have a D/M button, so you could change it into manual mode. It just has a very opulent, like, look at the way we're sitting in here, and I could talk to you very comfortably while paying attention to the road, but it has so many different assists and things helping you out along the way. And that's what you want on the road. You know, we just drove that 911S 4S about maybe a month ago, and, you know, it was posted recently. But the thing about that car, you know, Porsche with their daily drivable sports cars and stuff, is when you buy a car like that and spec it up, and it's about, you know, almost the same price as this, maybe a little less, it's the overall experience that you get is much rougher. And although it is a daily drivable car, this is what you want when you're living in an area like this where you have, you know, a snow season and bunch of traffic conditions and 40 miles per hour maximum speed limit on a lot of roads here in the, you know, on our Chicagoland area. It's much more difficult to drive something that's low and aggressive all the time and making tons of noise when you have to pay attention to pedestrians and little kids, you know, on their bikes and stuff. This is what you want out on the road. You know, you keep your one sports car full, like go ahead and get like a GT3 or whatever you want, but that's your weekend car or your track car or something. This is your everyday car that is faster than a GT3, you know. It's 626 horsepower is not a joke, just because every car has it nowadays. You know, we talk about this a lot, about how every car is now having this 600 horsepower gang, almost 700 horsepower. It's just absolutely fantastic. So, overall, the time with this 2021 Bentley Flying Spur W12 has been very, very unique and special because previously this car, you know, wasn't up to date with like the Bentley Continental, for example, like with the new updates and stuff inside and outside. But now this is right up there once again. And with the all new model year, I mean, it's just such a crazy luxurious package. It is so fast and so comfortable, very minimalistic body roll, you know, very nice suspension tuning overall. You know, these crazy big wheels. I mean, look at them. Look at the size of the brakes. It's just insane. So overall, I really, really enjoyed it. Minor complaints here and there are a little bit complaints of the visibility and, you know, the steering wheel not being as numb as some of the other luxurious cars. But overall, it's just such a crazy experience driving this thing, you know, very, very unique in this category. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Auto Group. I hope you guys really enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next one.